Score, not counting spread, he went 224. Drop times, kickers, and stickers galore. Another full summer to grow some more Big Buck. All summer long was a nervous wreck, riding back roads with my rubberneck, looking for signs he was still around, and spending my money just leasing ground for Big Buck.
That's Kevin Blake Weldon with his hit Big Buck, and this is Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast, episode number 142, Tag and Brag Revisited. David and Dean Giarrizzo, food plot, soil testing, clover, turnips, and creating tonnage. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
This is Chad Eubanks with Bone Buster Outdoors. You're tuned into my favorite deer hunting podcast, Big Buck Registry.
This is Michael Pitts with Real Tree. I'm the inspiration for everything Michael Waddell has become. You're tuning in to the most mediocre podcast on iTunes, the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast.
Hi, this is Sean Lefkoe with Heartland Bowhunter.
Hey, this is Michael Hunsucker with Heartland Bowhunter.
And you're listening to my favorite podcast on iTunes,
The Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jay Scott. Thanks for tuning into the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. It's always a pleasure to have your ear for an hour, and I'm sure you're eager to hear what we have to say today with anywhere from the deer news to the guest of the day and the interview we've got set for you today. So what's happening in Ohio in the Big Buck studios?
Man, I'm a little sore tonight, Jay. I've been working out, trying to get ready for turkey season. Just really trying to get my body tuned back up and get a little healthier in life here.
That's awesome, man. Your pythons are starting to kind of get ripped up. I'm impressed, to say the least.
I've been working hard, man. 4 months. It's just the beginning. If I can do this for a year, I think that I can change my complete look of my body. How about that?
There you go.
That's my goal. Hammer and just keep after it.
You've been after it 4 months, and it's because of hunting, just because you want to be able to keep pace with the demands that you put on yourself.
Yeah, and we got a good friend, Billy Dahl, that's he's in a wheelchair and he's working out, man. It kind of inspired me to get off my dead butt and go do something myself.
Gotcha, man. No, I've been working out too. I've been doing some body exercise. I've been taking long walks, kind of up and down the spillway, up and down the rocks. So it's, I'm getting ready for that little hill climbing adventure we're going to be on here not too long from now. So, but that's just the beginning. I need to do more of it. I need to do more excelled training, basically, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I told myself when this winter hit that I was no longer getting couch sores or being a couch potato. You ever had somebody tell you got couch sores?
I can't say I have. Was that your wife? Your wife saying that to you?
No. But it's just a funny phrase that, if you sit around and watch TV all winter long, your couch sores get festered out. So I didn't want to get any couch sores and be a couch potato this winter. And that was the whole thing. I just, previous winters, I've kind of just laid low and done nothing.
Yep.
And, I didn't want to do that this year. And once I started going to the gym, man, it just something now that it's routine. I'm going, we're doing Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday every week. And it's, you got to make time to do it and you got to force yourself to do it. There's days you don't want to do it and you still need to go. So that's my whole thing. And as long as I can keep myself motivated to go, I'm going to keep going and progressing. And, I'm showing gains and getting stronger, and I feel good. That's the whole focal point, I guess, is to feel a lot better, and it seems to be working so far.
Right. Awesome, man. Very cool. Very, very cool. So on our quest to kind of revisit some of the people we've talked to over the last couple of years, we're staying with that theme today. We're going to be talking to David and Dean Giarrizzo from TAGNBRAG in just a few minutes. And we talked to them a couple of years ago, just kind of like we did the Heartland Bowhunter guys. We talked to them a couple of years ago. We brought that show back to see what they've been doing over the last couple of years. And I think it's always good to kind of rekindle some of the things they've been doing and listen to what they have to say. Because certainly you've been on several deer hunts if you're in the industry over the last couple of years. And we want to just, they're always good deer hunts. So we try to go get those deer hunts out of them and get them on the air here for everybody else to listen to. So we're going to visit with TAGNBRAG in a little bit. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's amazing the advancements that somebody makes in a couple of years. Just talking with TAGNBRAG, you can tell that they're a little more serious now, and they still like to cut up and have a good time. I mean, it's part of their personality is have some fun, and that's what kind of life's about, is not be so serious all the time and break it up with some fun. But them guys are doing great things, and what a great podcast we got coming on the show here today, Jay.
Absolutely. Well, before we get there, we should turn over the show to Jim Keller for the deer news.
Let's do it. The deer news this week is sponsored by the Euro Hanger. You don't have to spend big bucks to hang your big buck. Get yourself a Euro Hanger. Facebook.com/Eurohanger, EUROHANGER.
For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News. Our first story this week, federal land ownership in question. Aside from all the other controversial topics in the presidential race, one issue all people who hunt and fish should understand are the varying candidates' beliefs around federal land ownership. The candidates vary in their beliefs as to whether the federal government should be allowed to own land or instead pass it back to state ownership. Some believe that federal land ownership just adds to big government and limits control of these assets by the states, and therefore the people. Rules for access to and public use of government land varies significantly from state to state, especially when comparing western states to eastern states. Some state laws are much more restrictive to public land use than federal laws. At the federal level, Park Service is falling behind $300 million annually, and the federal government has a backlog of $20 billion in costs. At the state level, taking over these responsibilities could be too much for state budgets and force the sale of lands and historic landmarks to private ownership. Federal management of these lands has historically been handled poorly, often due to an indecisive Congress, especially when it comes to timber and mining management and income potential. Some states have handled timber and mining management better than others. The state's inability to manage these resources can significantly impact a state's ability to hold these lands long term. We suggest each listener fully research their candidate's position on federal land ownership, as it is not necessarily drawn down party lines. For additional information, please check out Field & Stream's website, outdoorhub.com, backcountryhunters.org, or our show notes for this episode on bigbuckregistry.com. QDMA provides recommended practices for hunters in CWD zones. This story comes from the Quality Deer Management Association website. Based on requests from its Michigan-based members, the newest state to discover a deer with CWD, the QDMA has developed guidelines for deer management in areas where CWD has been determined to exist. The guidelines are a compilation of information obtained through work with multiple organizations, including the CWD Alliance and the USGS National Wildlife Health Center. The guidelines include information around use of food plots in CWD zones, deer harvest considerations, and information about the safety of eating venison harvested in or near these areas. The recommended practices are also educational and useful to hunters in areas not affected by CWD. QDMA's Director of Outreach and Education, Kip Adams, stated, "It's urgent that all hunters focus on preventing CWD from spreading into new areas." The recommended practices are broken down into 4 areas: herd management, habitat management, hunter management, and herd monitoring. The guidelines are free and can be downloaded from the QDMA's free download page on their website at qdma.com. New Hampshire considering changes to hunting seasons and rules. New Hampshire's wildlife season rules are reviewed every 2 years and are subject to the state's rulemaking process. For 2016, reducing the number of moose permits, changes to deer seasons in some hunting units, and extending the fall turkey season are just a few of the changes being considered. Changes to non-resident bear hunting rules, pheasant season, fishing bag limits, and wildlife baiting are also on the list. Hearings are set for March 31st at Keene High School, April 4th in Concord, and April 5th in Lancaster. For addresses and times for these hearings, as well as a document describing the rule changes, please visit the New Hampshire Fish and Game website at www.wildlife.state.nh.us or check our show notes at bigbuckregistry.com. This story was originally reported by Paula Tracy on the WMUR ABC Channel 9 website. Staten Island Mayor considers deer population management options. This story comes to us from the Staten Island Live website. Staten Island Mayor Bill de Blasio hasn't ruled out hunting, poisoning, or otherwise killing deer as a way to manage the borough's out-of-control and expanding deer herd. The city is currently in the process of developing a deer management strategy. Lethal and non-lethal methods are being considered, including fencing, relocation, chemical pesticides, shooting, hunting, and birth control. A decision on this strategy is taking longer than expected, which is driving up the cost for taxpayers. The increasing deer population could harm parks, private property, spread tick-borne illnesses, and increase deadly deer vehicle accidents. The deer population has been studied multiple times, is estimated to be between 750 and 1,000 deer, is in the process of being studied one more time, which is further delaying any actions to manage the herd. There is currently no timeline for a decision. That concludes this week's edition of the Big Buck Registry's Deer News. If you have any ideas for future topics or have questions about any of these topics, please email me at jim@bigbuckregistry.com. For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News.
Thanks to Jim Keller for the Deer News, and without further ado, here is Tag and Brag, David and Dean Giarrizzo. David and Dean, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. What's happening, my friends?
Not too much. Good to be back. Yeah. I feel like it's been a while. I know. I feel like we were young boys when we were last on the show.
Well, you were pretty young. I mean, you're not that you're old now, but yeah, it seemed like where the hell have you guys been for the last year and a half? That's kind of what we're thinking. We're reaching out to all of our old friends.
No, it's good to be back on the show. You guys are blowing up. I feel like we're talking to the famous people within the industry right now. It feels kind of good.
That's funny.
I like to hear that,
I like to hear that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like to hear that.
We try hard.
It is true. For sure, it's true. I mean, when you guys to get on this show since we were on it last. Yeah, we got to book. We got to wait for Heartland Bowhunter and Taylor Drury. We're standing in line over here. We come in second and third every time.
There is quite a list, I have to say. There is quite a, it's at one point we used to just try to, we were just begging people to come on. Now there's actually a line to get in, so we're okay with that.
That's a good thing. Always a good thing.
I'm looking up the actual show that you guys are on and trying to figure out exactly when that was. Let's see. I'm going to keep scrolling. Where are you guys right now?
We're at our house in Cleveland, Ohio.
Gotcha.
So, in the midst of a nice rainy night here tonight.
A rainy night in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. Got it. And you guys were on episode. Wow, I didn't realize it was that long ago. Episode 57, back in July 26, 2014.
Phew. Man, almost 2 years ago. We were young bucks.
Yeah. So you guys have been. What have you been up to for the last 2 years? You've blown up otherwise too. I mean, now I go to the ATA show, and you guys are everywhere. I see you on the big screen, and everybody's talking about you. So what's happened since the 2014 summer to today? Because back then we were talking, and you were just trying to get some stuff off the ground. But things have happened for you. What's going on?
Yeah, no, it's been good. We're just grinding away, trying to find our place within this industry. I mean, we have a web show now on TAGNBRAG TV, TAGNBRAG.tv. We do a weekly episode. I mean, it's crazy what that's blown up into, and with our social media following and stuff like that. We just launched a new phone app called Mount on the iTunes network. That's all for hunters and fishermen. So really, I mean, we're just trying to connect hunters and fishermen alike. That's really what our mission and goal has been since we started Tag and Brag. We've gone on a crazy roller coaster since we talked to you guys on here last. But we're finally kind of paving our way and making a name for ourselves within the industry, and it's been good. Yeah, it's been great.
And just looking from afar, I think you're doing a good job getting your name out there and getting your product out there. And I think what you're doing is really cool. I mean, you guys are a little younger than I am for sure. And so you're tapping into a very important segment of the outdoor industry. The people that are watching you are probably a little younger than the folks watching the Shockies, for example, right? Like there's a generational thing going on, and you guys are tapping into that younger crowd, I think, and some of the older crowd because of your skill set. But I think it's important to have the younger guys coming up through the ranks because you're going to be bringing these new hunters along with you and keeping that tradition alive. Because if you don't do that, if you guys didn't exist, the hunting as we know it today probably wouldn't exist like it is now 20 years from now, because you have to get everybody involved. And I don't know if you realize what you're doing, but being able to do your funny videos online is super important because you have to touch the crowd that's understanding the videos. My father is not going to be watching your videos, but my nephew probably is, right? Because he's in that.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we do. We enjoy just. I don't know. We're really ourselves on our videos. I mean, everyone will see that when they watch us. We just enjoy entertaining everybody, and we kind of let loose and just put it all on the line on our videos, and it's fun because that younger generation that is so important in the next stages of hunting really gravitates to that. You know, they see something new, something fresh, and they kind of have fun with it.
Right.
And it kind of inspires them and us to do the same. So, they kind of get into it. A lot of people interact with us, and it is good. They just they really gravitate to that entertainment and us seeing us having fun with what we're doing. I think that's the biggest thing, enjoying the sport. Yeah, and we understand we understand, like you said, Jay, the importance of passing this passion along, the passion of hunting, even fishing, but, for us is really hunting and passing that along to the next generation. And like Dean said, we want to attract our audience based off of the people that we are, our personalities.
Exactly.
And certainly we love to hunt, but at the same time, we like to have fun doing it. And we do. We get a lot of interaction that way. We get a lot of feedback from the younger generation on our social media, and it keeps us going because it keeps new, fresh ideas for videos and stuff like that in our head. And it's cool. It's been fun to be a part of the journey.
It is cool that you're tapping into a pop culture type thing when you do like a mock-up of a popular song. And then somebody who's heard that song can relate to that and hopefully, bring them into the hunting world if they haven't tried it before, or if they're, if they were doing a little bit, hopefully that's like, hey, these guys are cool. I can relate to these guys. They understand what I understand. They understand and like the things that I like, by enjoying some pop culture song that you used in your video. So I think that is so incredibly important, and you may not realize how important that is, but to keep these things that we're doing alive for a long time is super, super important to have people just be able to connect with what they're watching on these mediums, the YouTubes, the Twitters, Facebook, all that stuff where we're hanging out now. That where to me growing up, that didn't even exist. I didn't even have the internet. We still had. We didn't have cell phones when I started. We had phones that were still tethered to a device that plugged into the wall. That was it. So, to see the development there, but now to have somebody really actually reach out and use that stuff that all the other kids are calling second nature, that's so important.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, and the way that we portray ourselves online, or the way that we broadcast ourselves, really majority online content, and now with our phone app mount, we see the importance of being able to watch us and other people mobilely, and you can watch all of our episodes right from your phone. Obviously, you can jump on our phone app and stuff like that, and that's a huge importance because people are on their phone all day, every day, looking for new content, looking for something else to make them laugh or entertain themselves, and So that's really been a huge factor for us in the growth that we've had over the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting out that stuff that is that the younger crowd can relate to. I think it's super important to the well-being of the hunting industry, period. So awesome. Keep doing that. You guys are from Ohio, but you hunt in New York and obviously still hunt in Ohio some. But let's talk about New York a little bit. You've been, I think when I first talked to you, you were out, it was the middle of the summer, so you were working on some food plots, I believe. Let's talk more about food plots. And this is a great time of year to talk about that kind of thing, because as the winter ends and as spring begins, the first thing that's on my mind, and for I think lots of people who have farms to cultivate, specifically for the game management, land management for the deer herd, is that you got to get ready for this stuff. This is great to have Dusty on this conversation, because he's in the middle of the farmland there. He understands this stuff like it's the back of his hand. So what are you guys doing right now to prepare for the fall deer season at your farm in New York?
Well, it's nice. We actually just got a new tractor. We've been using neighbors and friends' equipment the past couple of years, really teaching ourselves, putting in these plots and improving them, making them bigger. And up in New York, even here in Ohio, we're like literally in the snow belt, and we usually have snow for the next month. Up in New York. Right. So we're kind of lucky this year. It's been pretty mild. But we're going to be getting up there and really just starting to turn some of our plots. We got a couple that really right now we're going to be putting in our clover, and some of the clover that we kind of improve some of the clover that we put in the fall. That's our main thing. I mean, even if we get another snow here, some of our small plots, what we'll even do is just frost seed it. You can broadcast a seed right over it, and even if it freezes again, those seeds will germinate and hopefully get established before everything else does in the spring. And mainly outside of that, we plant mainly our fall food plots. So we're really just trying to keep our plots ready, I guess, for the fall. That we usually plant up there end of July, beginning of August, mainly, our turnips and brassica blends. And it's nice this year because most of our plots we did so well with last year, they're already going to be, and having a tractor now this year readily available, they're already going to be prepared throughout the summer and spring for us. Last year we were spraying everything down. Our grass was real tall. We had to brush hog it, plow it all over. So this year we're gonna be spending a lot of time just keeping the dirt good, and like I said, keeping our clover plots good so there's food there all summer long. And then when we're ready to put our turnips and stuff in late July or early August, we'll be ready to go. Yeah, Dean's more of the tractor guy. I don't necessarily get to ride the tractor as often as he does. He's the farmer of the group. So what I do right now is they give me the chainsaw and I just go buck wild in the woods. A lot of what we do, like with our tree stand locations and stuff, this time of year is a great time to trim shooting lanes. Open stuff up a little bit so that you can shoot, especially now up in New York. You can use a rifle. Over the past couple of years, that just changed so that you can use rifles now. So really, now that you can see, everything is kind of matted down still from the snow. There's no foliage on the trees or anything like that. So going in there with the chainsaw and trimming out your shooting lanes so that when you do go back in, mid to late summer, you have minimal lanes to trim. There's not like a bunch of stuff hanging in them. And you can kind of see already what's going on in there. So they give me the chainsaw. I normally break it 3 or 4 times while I'm cutting stuff down, but that's just, I'm aggressive. That's just how I am. We got to be careful with all of our equipment. It's got to be what we call David proof. he tests the limits. He tests the limits with everything we buy. Yeah. I mean, I just don't see the point in doing it any other way.
I kind of get the understanding of why he's not on the tractor seat, really.
Right.
Oh, exactly. Especially a new one. I'm like, Dave, you're not touching this thing this summer.
Okay.
You got to at least break this bad boy in.
Let's not let Dave touch the expensive stuff if we're going to let him touch anything, right?
No.
Right.
That's why they don't let me fly the drone anymore. Because after the second time I flew it, I clipped the top of a tree and it came tumbling down. And the first time he flew it, he somehow clipped through branches and recovered in the air, and it didn't break. And I almost yanked the controller from him on that one, but somehow I gave him a second chance, and he blasted a tree, and we got this thing super glued back together.
All right, Dean. What kind of tractor? Just to break it down a little bit and see what a small food plot tractor. What kind of tractor did you pick up?
We just got a Mahindra dealer right in our local town, and we looked around a little bit, but for us it was affordable. It's just a 38 horse Mahindra. We got a front end loader on it, tiller, and just a brush hog and a rake just to kind of manage some of the food plots we have currently. Yeah, I mean, like Dean said, we did over the past couple of years plowing and disking these plots. Our existing plots right now are in pretty good condition to where we really only need a tiller, to turn the dirt over. That's what we're going to be doing a couple times throughout the spring, and then just keeping it turned over throughout the summer when we can, so that once it comes planting time at the end of the summer, we're ready to go. And then the rake and stuff just for, clearing some small clover plots and whatnot. And obviously, when I get on the tractor, they put the brush hog on, and I'll clear the path and make sure that we got some highways for the deer to walk through.
That's too good. Oh, man. Wild man on the tractor.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like an on and off switch with me. There's really no in between. It's like, if we're going for it, let's do it.
Right. That makes sense in some ways. And, there's other things that nothing's cheap anymore. And that stuff costs a lot of money to purchase and maintain. And I kind of seen where Dean's a little bit leery of you on the tractor seat, but that's all right, though. So when you guys get into to your food plot, let's talk a little bit about what you do in New York versus Ohio, just so we could get a kind of a broader spectrum of the different areas. So when you go and do a food plot in New York, do you pull a soil sample?
Oh yeah, we did. We actually last year we didn't, just because the previous 2 years we kind of got that somewhat nailed down. I probably will do it again this year just to see what's changed. But yeah, usually. The thing is with New York, our property's on two ridges, and then we have actually our main plot is in the valley below. So, and we got a lot of gravel actually in our soil up there, which does make it tough because with a tiller, anything, we're running into rocks all the time, and the winter just brings them right up from the ground. It's crazy. We'll go through our plots after the spring thaw, and there'll be literally small boulders in the plot. Where did these come from? But they just kind of get pushed up, and you got to run through with the tractor and throw them in the loader and clear them out. But yeah, we'll run around different corners of the plots and take different samples, and mix them together so we got an even soil sample for the one plot, and we'll test them out. And yeah, they usually end up pretty different. A couple of our plots up there that are in different areas, we're usually fertilizing pretty different, especially if it's clover, and turnips. We're usually putting a little bit different, more heavy fertilizer on one than the other, or whatever the soil may need.
Right. How is the germination Ohio versus New York? Is there any difference in germination period from Ohio to New York?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little bit, it's weird because we're only 2 hours away, honestly, from our camp up in New York from Ohio, but it almost seems like it's a couple weeks later up in New York than it is here in Ohio. But it's weird. You go up, you drive 2 hours, and it's always 5 to 7 degrees colder up there. We'll have snow up there for 2 to 3 weeks longer than we will here. It's just in that weathered area for whatever reason. Watching the antler growth up in New York compared to Ohio here too, it's crazy how different it is. I mean, it seems like it's, like Dean said, with the germination period, it's 2 to 3 weeks behind up in New York as opposed to where we're at here in Ohio. We're seeing these huge bucks, mid-June to July here in Ohio, and we're looking at the deer up in New York, why isn't anything growing up here? They got brow tines, and they're just starting to form. It's crazy. But by, mid to end of August, they're they're fully grown and fully developed. But I don't know if it's the climate difference or what, if it's a little bit of a harsher winter up there or what it is, but it is, there's a couple weeks difference in growth. I mean, no matter what, whether it's food plots or the antler growth, it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Right. So you're saying that New York, you're probably taking away a few weeks of antler growth.
The bucks are not as big up there. I mean, the state, the DEC and stuff like that, and the regulations are completely different, which obviously makes a difference. The season's completely different up there. I mean, here in Ohio, as a resident, you can only shoot one buck. As a non-resident in New York, we can shoot two. So that makes a huge difference as well. But yeah, it is. We do see a huge difference.
Well, that's super interesting that it's that much difference 2 hours away.
I know. Even the deer, like Dave was just saying. I mean, you'll get a 2 to 3 year old deer up there, buck. It'll weigh dressed out anywhere from 125 to 140 pounds. Where here in Ohio, we'll shoot some deer that are 170, 180. Yeah. And yeah, it's just crazy. Even the older bucks, you'll get. It's real rare to shoot a buck up there that's anywhere from the 170 to 180 pound range. Yeah. Out. They're just not as big. My dad's here last year in Ohio. Opening day, September 26th, dressed out at 215. I mean, and they're at their peak weight then. Right. Right. They're at their peak weight at that point, or at least getting to their peak weight at that point. So it's a little bit different because the season starts later up there, but still, it's crazy.
Right. As far as food plot seed, are you seeing a difference in seed choices from Ohio to New York?
I mean, we're just starting to get into that. We actually, the last couple of years, honestly, we've stuck with clover and turnips, and actually we sparked us doing clover up in New York because our couple clover plots here in Ohio are unbelievable. Right. But this year we actually just got hooked up with horny buck seed this year, and we're gonna be experimenting doing a couple different seed blends, which I'm actually pretty excited about, trying a couple new things out, which we haven't done yet. So
yeah, shout out to Doug Kostrov and shout out to Jay for introducing you guys.
Yeah. Dougie Fresh hooked it up. We're pretty excited. Yeah, I'm pumped.
Dougie Fresh.
Ready to grow. Ready to grow some big deer.
What do you got planned for a New York food plot this year, seed-wise?
We're going to be doing a lot of turnips again. I mean, our goal this year, honestly, is to create tonnage. And what I mean by that is to create, per food plot, we want to get the most out of each acre, 100 yards, whatever we have to plant. We want to create the most spoilage we can. I mean, I want these deer, like, literally walking through there, being able to eat, looking up. I want to only see the tops of their ears when they're walking through these fields. No, but I mean, that's kind of our goal this year, is really to create, as much tonnage as possible. I mean, we don't have a ton of land up there that we plant. We realistically plant maybe a total of 10 acres. And I mean, that might be a stretch. We're going to try and expand on that this year, but some of the places that we're expanding on are in the hardwoods, and they're most likely going to be clover plots and stuff. But the deer up there, especially late season when that snow hits, the turnips are just on fire. It's insane. I mean, we'll have 20 to 30 deer in a 5-acre food plot, which is unheard of up there, literally, unheard of. So that's really when our food plots are maximized. I mean, they crush the turnips, the foliage, the leaves of the turnips in early October, and even, through mid-October. Once the rut hits, the food is kind of secondary to them, but then we really take advantage of the late season up there because of the harsh winters. And as soon as that snow hits, I mean, they are digging at those bulbs like crazy. It's insane, and it's cool to watch. It's cool to see your hard work coming together and paying off for you.
Right.
The other thing too is it seems like we've tried some small plots of corn and even beans and stuff, and we're not up there all the time to monitor those, but like they would get wiped out before they could even do anything. And it just seems like the turnips grow the best up there. But the other thing is too, our season up there is very short compared to most, and the turnips are just best. I mean, the deer will hit them throughout the whole season for us. they'll hit the leaves and everything, early season, and then like Dave was saying, the bulbs and the snow hits. But it's literally October 1st until mid-December, and we're done up there. And it's a 6-week bow season and a 4-week rifle season. So it's not like Ohio where you can plan on that mid to end of December and January food source, like a standing corn or standing soybean. It's not worth it for us to put that stuff up there because, one, our plots are small, and two, the deer are hitting that stuff mainly when the snow hits after the season up there.
Right. So what do you got planned seed-wise here in Ohio?
Well, like Dave said, we're working on right now. We're working on 2 leases we're trying to get. So we haven't really started any plots yet, which we will if we can land a couple of these. We have a couple that we're trying to get that are like 12 that have opportunities for 10 to 12 acre fields, which I would love to put. I definitely want to do turnips again in that if we could, but I definitely want to put in some soybean if possible, because you do have to have a decent amount of that because the deer will wipe them out clean. But I just love that food source in the late season. The deer hit it so hard, and it can be so effective in the late season here in Ohio, which we spend a lot of time in the rut up in New York just because the season's so short. We honestly don't get a lot of rut time here in Ohio, so we spend a lot of time in the late season here. So it would be nice to have a food source like that here.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it. When you guys go in to do your planting, do you guys do any no-till, or are you all just broadcast seeding? How are you planting?
All of our turnips and clover is all broadcasted. And then, actually, now that we have a tractor, we got a couple plots kind of staked out that we want to put in this year. A couple of them are up on our ridges and actually timbered hardwoods that we want to kind of clear out, maybe a half an acre or more if we can, which it's, like I said, it's up in timber, so we're not going to be able to do any like heavy tilling. It's going to be kind of, clearing out and raking as much as we can, maybe a little light tilling just to get some seed to soil contact. And those plots, at least for this year, will hopefully will be clover, but we're excited to try to get some of those in because they're in really good areas. Yeah, all of our turnips, though, are just broadcasted. I mean, we don't plant anything with a planter. Dean's got the ratio and the bin down out of his little broadcasting bag that he has, and he walks along, and I mean, it does, like, we overseed it a little bit just because we are broadcasting it. But if the soil, if the field's prepared right, you're getting good soil to seed contact. I mean, we've had some great success with just broadcasting, at least the turnips anyway. Yeah, the seeds are so small with the turnips. I mean, if they hit the dirt and you get a decent rain after, they're going to go.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Are you once you go out there and broadcast your seed, do you do any follow up with a drag or anything to cover them?
Honestly, we haven't used a drag. Last year we did a little bit of a light disc, but honestly, I was broadcasting last year in a downpour, and and we kind of planned for it, but we were literally finishing everything up, and it started raining. So a couple of our turnip plots that we did, like I said, I was literally finishing up, and it was a downpour, so we kind of just let it go, and it actually worked out really nice.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it just works the seed right into the dirt and the soil, so it just germinated on its own without any cover-up. Good deal.
Yeah.
Jay, let's get into talking some hunting.
Yeah, let's talk some deer hunting. And specifically, let's talk about some deer hunts that you guys have gone on over the last year or so. You had mentioned that you've been on a couple of interesting ones, and I'd like to kind of go on a little hunt with you guys, kind of put us on your shoulder and take us with you, play-by-play kind of thing, what happened as it unraveled. So, David, you want to go first or Dean?
No, I'll take it away. This is my favorite part of the show, so I'll lead it off.
Me too. Go for it. Where are we going?
Well, we're going to North Dakota. We've been fortunate enough. I met a guy in Nashville 3 years ago, and after a couple drinks at the bar and just kind of talking to each other, explaining what we're both passionate about, he invited me up to hunt a soybean farm, and I kind of looked at him dumbfounded, like, Joe, are you serious? Because I will absolutely take you up on this. The cool thing about North Dakota is the season starts so early, It normally starts the last Friday in August, so you get a chance at shooting a velvet whitetail, which I think is on both of Dean and I's bucket list. But really for us, it extends our season a month because we come back and we have like 2.5 weeks until opening day here in Ohio. So it's cool because, like I said, you extend the season a month. This year was our 3rd year going up there, and we were literally, one of my best friends was getting married in St. Louis. It was going to be the weekend. We were supposed to go to North Dakota. We were literally going to drive to Missouri for his bachelor party and then drive up to North Dakota, and we weren't supposed to get there to North Dakota until like late Labor Day evening, I think, on Monday. And I got horribly sick before, like literally the day before we were supposed to leave for the bachelor party. I'm talking like wiped out in bed, horribly sick for like 2.5 days. And it held us back from going to this bachelor party. But Dean was finally getting so anxious. He's like, dude, you're done puking. Just let's load up the car, get in the car. I'll drive. We're going. We need to get up there. I had gone up 2.5 weeks prior. I flew up by myself. I set up like 5 trail cameras, which we have not done previous to this. So we had a little bit of information going into this hunt, which was, which gave us a huge advantage because we're only up there for, 7 to 8 days, and we usually spend the first 3 or 4 of them scouting. And we just get so anxious to hunt. It seems like by the end of it, at least for the past 2 years, you get there and you're like, if we had a couple more days, we could make it happen. Well, we got up there and we started checking these trail cameras. We got up there on Sunday, I think, Sunday midday or something. So we weren't supposed to be there for another day and a half. And we started checking these trail cameras, and there was bucks everywhere. I mean, it was insane. There was a bachelor group of 4, all like from 4.5 to 2.5 or whatever, but all really nice bucks. I mean, a couple giants and just literally bucks everywhere. So Monday we got up, we set a stand, and the stand that we set up, it was in the single tree. I mean, beans for miles. Like you can literally see miles. And there's like one tree at the edge of this cattail slough, and we put a stand up in it. And we kind of argued back and forth because I just like sitting in the woods together. Like I like my brother. I mean, what do you have to say? I enjoy hunting together. And Dean was like, he's like, dude, listen, man, this is going to have to be a solo mission in this tree. It just is, because we need to stay concealed. These deer are going to be coming from a long way away. We're going to easily see one person in this tree, let alone 2 people with camera equipment. So we argued back and forth, and finally he got his way, and, we set up one stand, went back, had lunch, and quite honestly, at this point it was Monday, it was Labor Day. Once again, not supposed to be in North Dakota yet, and we were arguing again back and forth. I didn't want to go in there and spook any of the deer that were coming in at night. I wanted to see where they were coming from first, just so we kind of had a game plan a little bit and could, I guess had a little bit more of a game plan than just going in there blind. And Dean was like, just go sit in there. If the deer, if they come in, then great, you're in there. If not, it's not like you're going to spook them out anyway. And there was a little high rise, probably like 3/4 of a mile behind where we set up the tree stand, that literally looked over the whole bean field and cattail sloughs. I mean, there's a bunch of little remote lakes and sloughs within this bean field, and it literally looked over the whole area that we were going to be hunting. So he's like, I'll just go sit up on this hill, and you go sit in the stand. If something comes in, great. If not, whatever. It's not like we're not going to waste a hunt day while we're out here. So that's what we did, and literally 25 minutes before I turned around, and this buck, which Dean had already previously seen coming out of this cattail slough, was walking the edge of these trees, which were behind me, on the edge of the beans and the cattail slough, literally coming on a string right to my tree. And it was one of the bigger 10 points of the group of 4 bucks that we had seen on trail camera. This deer literally came right to my tree, 20 yards. I mean, I got the whole thing on film. I smoked this deer. He ran probably 60, 70 yards. I don't know. I could have seen him go down, but I was going so nuts at that point. I wasn't even paying attention. But my biggest buck to date, I think he scored like mid 140s, which didn't really matter to me, but it was what it was. I mean, we were going absolutely nuts and didn't know what to do with ourselves at that point. It was the first day that we were there. We weren't even supposed to be there yet, and we already had a 10-point on the ground. He literally had to have just shed his velvet, so he was hard-horned at this point, and he was by himself. The other 3 bucks were nowhere to be seen. And so, I mean, we celebrated like crazy in the middle of the bean field that night, celebrated when we got back to the lodge. And, you know, Dean goes into this North Dakota hunt, or he had gone into this North Dakota hunt for the past 2 years as a cameraman for me, which I'm very fortunate for. But now we literally had 7 days to stay there and try and shoot another one. So the next day we went and got a tag, and it was Dean's turn. And meanwhile, he watched this whole thing unfold from 3/4 of a mile away through a spotting scope, which was even more insane. I mean, the phone call exchange that we had in the tree, we got both on film, which was pretty cool because we'll put those together for our episode on Tag and Brag TV. Was insane.
That's
it was
awesome.
Nuts.
That's nice.
Yeah,
nice. What a great trip.
Lucky and fortunate to have that opportunity. And the trip wasn't over.
Yeah, that's just the beginning of the trip. That's the best part. So I don't know what happened on the rest of the story, but Dean, where are we going?
Well, I guess we'll just continue it on that. This actually turned out to be the only buck I shot this year, so we're going to stick with this one.
All right.
No, yeah, we had the option. I mean, Dave shot his buck, and we were like, all right, we got to figure out if we either just pack up and head home, get this meat and everything home, or luckily, the landowner and everything is great friends with everyone in the town, and they had a butcher there. They held all the meat and everything for us in the freezer, so they were like, go get another tag and keep hunting. I'm like, all right. I went there to be a cameraman. I didn't even get to film him shoot the deer, and now all of a sudden I'm hunting. So, and meanwhile, like, I was up on this high-rise just to kind of scout. We were both kind of going in the woods to scout, and I could see, 360 degrees around me. I figured, if I spot a buck somewhere working an area, whether it's a mile away, 2 miles away, we'll be able to go set up on him maybe. But luckily the one we were after came right to Dave's tree. But, yeah, we hunted throughout the week. It honestly, the deer movement kind of slowed down. I mean, we saw a couple small bucks. We had a lot of bucks on the trail cam. Everything was just middle of the night. It was right in the period where they were losing their velvet, so the bucks were just kind of getting a little funky. Like, some of them would disappear for 2-3 days on the camera. We wouldn't see them. Yeah. And then, all of a sudden they'd show up and their velvet would be gone, and they'd be hard-horned. It was weird. So, yeah, I mean, we just honestly were hunting evenings, only really scouting in the mornings, and finally it got later in the week, day 6 or 7, and it started to get hot. I mean, it was mid-80s, and it was getting tough. We had a couple different stands set up, which David was able to be in the tree with me filming. Like I said, we saw a couple small bucks, and we were actually hunting one of these giants. Had to be 6-7-year-old buck that he was in velvet all week, and he was an awesome buck, huge 8-point with kickers coming off his G2s, but he just wouldn't. One day we had him on the camera right at last light, and he just wouldn't show after that. Well, finally on the last day, these 2 other bucks that were with the one Dave shot were sporadically showing up on the camera near the stand that he shot his buck in. And the last day, I had my mindset. I'm going into the stand completely opposite side of the farm. And I want to go hunt this giant buck that we were getting pictures of, even though he wasn't coming anywhere close to daylight. And I kind of convinced Dave to go sit in the stand the first night. Well, he kind of convinced me to try to stand across the road again where he shot his the last night. So I'm like, all right, I go sit in there by myself again because, like I said, the same tree. We're both not getting in there. Well, David ended up sitting in the same spot I was, up on the hill. We were pretty much in the exact opposite spots that we were with Dave's hunt. I'm in the tree now, and it was awesome. Where the stand is, you're facing this huge lake. I mean, it's got to be a 7 to 10 acre lake, maybe easily. And that's the deer lay around these lakes. I mean, it's the only cover spots really out there. Everything else is just beans. And across this lake, 300-400 yards away, at probably a half an hour before legal shooting light, I see both these bucks get up and start feeding. They're just slowly feeding around the lake. And the one is a nice. He's a 3 to 4 year old 8-point, 130-inch 8-point, real heavy deer. The other one is a 10-point that's got ridiculous genes, but this deer is probably 2.5 years old. Yeah, and I'm just it felt like time was going by so fast, like it was getting dark so fast. But these deer were just taking forever. They were just slowly feeding, and I'm like, they're not gonna feed to me by the time it gets dark. They're not gonna do it.
Right.
Finally, it got like I'm looking at my watch, my phone. I'm like, I got 15 minutes. That's all I got. And plus, we got the camera. I'm like, the camera light's going. And for whatever reason, the younger buck he fed through a section of the beans, and then he just started steadily walking towards the section of beans that we were hunting in the stand. And I'm like, oh my God, this deer's coming. And he gets to me in bow range, and I'm looking up on the hill for the other buck, and he's nowhere to be found. Like, I can't see him anywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I can see him perfectly in the spotting scope. I don't know this, but Dave can see him. I can't. Well, so I got this.
Right.
At one point, I literally have this 10-point directly under my tree, and I'm like, I want to shoot you, but I'm not going to shoot you because I want you to be here next year, and I want this other buck to come. Well, finally, I see him pop over the hill, and he comes down. He feeds his way down, and it felt like the last 10 minutes I had, this deer is at 15 yards just facing me. Like, literally can't do anything. He's facing me. And finally, he turned a little bit to give me a shot, and I let him have it, and he ran like 60 yards through the beans. I watched him go down. David watched him go down. And it was nuts. Yeah, we're going crazy. The other 10-point standing there like, what the heck just happened? Looking at him, I'm like, yeah, it was absolutely nuts, because I'm watching these deer and I could see them. I know they're in bow range under the tree, same tree that I was sitting in, and I'm like almost getting mad up on this hill. I'm like, why isn't he shooting? Why is he not shooting? And all of a sudden, both deer take off. I'm like, oh, he had to have shot. And then the one got like wobbly, and he just disappeared into the beans, like fell over. I'm like, oh my God, he went down. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like with my phone in my hand. I'm like, come on, dude, you gotta call me. You gotta call me now.
Right.
You gotta call me.
Come on.
What's going on here? Come on. I mean, like, it's been like 3 minutes since he went down. Like, what could you be doing? Did he not go down? Like, did he just run over the hill? Like, what's going on? And all of a sudden, I get the phone call, and he's going nuts. And I mean, it was a trip that I don't know if we're going to be able to top. It's just, I mean, all the circumstances that had to happen for it to go down that way. Like I said, we shouldn't have even been there when I shot my deer. And then the rest of the week, like Dean said, went cold. So had we been there late, it would have gone cold on us. And then for Dean to cap it off with another buck on the last day, it was absolutely insane. It was insane.
Wow.
The hunting out there has been really rewarding. Well, at least this year has been really rewarding for us, because like Dave said, we went out there three years ago knowing nothing. We didn't have, we don't have a guide. I mean, the landowner generally told us, kind of said, check these areas a little bit, but we were learning everything ourselves. The first year we were out there, I mean, we didn't get within 200, 300 yards of a shooter buck, and we only saw maybe one. And then 2 years ago when we went, we started seeing some better deer, but we still didn't get within bow range of anything. And it's just been cool to kind of learn that farm and just learn the hunting out there, because it's so different than the Midwest, so different. And finally be successful this year. It's been so rewarding, because, that's what, I don't know, that's just, for us, that's a bow hunter's dream. Yeah. We like to do stuff ourselves. We like to learn the land, learn the deer, pursue the unknown. And it's just cool, because we go out there too, and the locals are like, you're bow hunting deer? Why are you bow hunting deer out here? Like, people with rifles out here. People ask us, is it really deer season? They don't even know. But yeah, it's cool, because it's tough to get in bow range out there. You can see for so long, And honestly, when you're out there, you look around and you're like, there's no deer out here I can see for 20 miles. I'd be able to see them all.
Right.
But it's cool. It's a cool, different way of hunting and different flavor than here in the Midwest.
Sounds like something that everybody should try who's a hunter at some point in their life, just to get that other perspective of what it's like to hunt in a different territory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, there's so much emphasis and focus on the kill these days, on the big buck and all that stuff. And we manage the deer, and we want to shoot a mature deer. That's what we're out there for. But, to experience, like, literally starting from a blank sheet of paper and learning a huge chunk of land, brand new territory, and in 3 years to kind of see where we've come. And, obviously we've put more and more effort into it. Like I said, I was out there 2.5 weeks prior, which was a huge help and aid for us in shooting that deer on the first night. We wouldn't have shot that deer on the first night had I not gone out there. But, you just put so much more time and effort into it because you get hungrier year by year. And the times that you fail, you cherish more now, because after you're successful, it was like that's kind of what made you successful. That's what made you get to that point. It wasn't given to you. You completely earned it. And it's, it's so rewarding. It's inexplainable, the feeling. I still, just talking about it right now, I have goosebumps because it was just awesome. The first year we were out there, we came home almost questioning, should we go back or should we have even gone? Right. Exactly.
That's crazy, man. Awesome. Great deer hunt stories. That's really detailed, and just I can feel the energy. I actually
love the energy.
Yeah, getting excited listening to as this thing unravels. Is he gonna get the kill or not? Oh man, that was good. Good stuff. So what can, and I assume both of these hunts will be on this season of Tag and Brag TV, and what else can we expect from you guys this coming season?
Well, we had our best season yet. My dad shot his biggest buck with a bow ever on opening day of Ohio season, both Dean and I in this blind. Once again, this deer kind of caught us off guard. Was the first deer we saw of the Ohio season. Dean and my dad didn't want to be in there. We were supposed to be up in New York pulling boats out of the lake, in preparation for the winter. And I'm like, you guys, we got to sit at least for the first hour of opening day. Like, how can we not go in the woods opening day? And so I drug them into the woods, and the 8:15 came around, and this buck, number one buck that we had on right behind my dad's house, actually, on our trail cameras and stuff throughout the summer back there, just came strolling in. It was meant to be. For some reason, it was meant to be. So, we have that. I shot a really nice 8-point up in New York in the middle of the rut after 10 days of hunting, and really kind of a slow rut up there. My dad got another nice buck up in New York during the middle of the rut, and then we had a really crazy hunt out of a redneck blind up there in rifle season. This buck that we were hunting that we nicknamed Don Henley. It was this 10-point. I have no idea how he got that nickname still to this day. Dean and I saw this deer 4 times between 8 o'clock and 12:30 in the afternoon with a rifle in our hand, and Dean was the hunter, I was the cameraman, and could not get a shot off at this thing. It was absolutely insane.
That's my safety off, I think 8 times.
We were swearing at each other. We were swearing at each other in this blind. Like, I'm like, why rip a shot off at this thing already? Like, he's taunting us at this point. He's like, well, you didn't have him on camera. We're going back and forth. So that was a crazy hunt. That'll certainly be an entertaining one. One of the non-kills that'll be entertaining for sure.
The nice thing is that we're hunting the redneck we were overlooking. It's a thick bottom. So this buck was he kept cruising through there, and I just, he never came out into like a plot thing. So we would see flashes of him, and we literally had split seconds to try to pull a shot off, and it just never could get the camera, the deer stopped, and the gun on at the same time. But the cool thing is we're kind of building a story with the deer. He's very local to our farm up there, and I think he's only a 3-year-old. He's got a ton of potential. David actually found one of his sheds last weekend. Yeah. We're going to go up and try to find the other one, but he's got a lot of potential to really blow up this year. So we're looking forward to watching him. Hopefully we'll seal the deal with him next year, and we'll be happier that one of the 8 times I had the safety off, I didn't rip a shot at him.
Because if it was me with the gun, I would have ripped a shot at him.
Thank God I had the gun. Because like David is aggressive with our equipment, he's aggressive with his trigger finger, and you would have had lead slung at him for sure.
I'm a very ethical hunter, but I do seize my opportunities.
That's awesome. Oh man! All right, guys. So I've got 10 rapid fire questions for each of you, and
love it.
I want to, and I didn't prep you on this because I think they're better off the cuff. So let's start off with David, and I'd like to hear your answer on each person answer the same question and see how they are. But I'll alternate them so that the guy that gets to think about it a little bit more can't on the next question, just to keep it fair between you two. All right. So of all the hunting tips that are out there, and you've heard millions over your lifetime, what's the number one hunting tip of all time for you?
Oh my gosh!
Got to pick one.
You can't kill him on the couch. You can't kill him on the couch. I'm an advocate of that, and sometimes, like Dean said, I'm a little too aggressive, but I especially in the rut, you got to be in there. You got to be in the woods. You can't kill him on the couch.
Yep, I love that one. Excellent. All right, Dean.
See, it's funny because I'm going to go with almost the opposite here.
Okay.
David's an aggressive guy. What's during the rut, I agree with 100%. But my number one tip is don't spend all your time on a buck that is literally only nocturnal. Like you're getting them on camera between 12 and 2. A lot of people like to do that. Even if it's a giant deer, it's hard not to go hunt that buck. But if you got another nice buck that's coming close to daylight or you're getting them on trail camera, I like to you got more of an opportunity to hunt the buck that you're seeing in daylight. If they're moving in daylight, you're going to get an opportunity at them. At least that's where the chances are. So I guess that would be my tip. Hunt the daylight bucks.
Gotcha.
The huntable bucks.
Good point. Yep.
They're all huntable.
Both very good points. Yep. All right. Moving on to question number 2. We all have these things that we probably consider good luck charms, things that we have to have with us at all times while we're hunting, even if they're not really part of the hunt. We feel naked without them. It drives us insane if we leave in the truck and we're just not going to feel like, or we feel like we're not going to get that opportunity that night or morning. What's that one thing for you, if you leave it in the truck, it drives you insane?
Oh, man. It's probably, honestly, this is stupid. You wouldn't even know, but it's an undershirt I wear. It's just this black undershirt, and I literally wear it like under my Under Armour, like under my base layers. But I don't know why. Every time I go in the woods, I have this black undershirt on, and whenever I'm going out in the woods, like I make sure I got it washed, scent free, and for whatever reason, I have other shirts to put on, but that's just the one that goes on. I don't know why.
That's your lucky
it doesn't work. It
lucky shirt.
Definitely doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
That's the greatest part about it.
That's it. The lucky shirt that doesn't work.
That's the best part about the shirt. Wears it every time, never works.
Probably should change that up this year.
What about them 5-day hunts you guys will go on without no washers or anything? I bet that thing, you better watch the smell on that, dude.
Oh, that thing's getting rank on those days.
Oh, like out in North Dakota and stuff, like when it's 80 degrees, it's tough out there anyway. We got to be very prepared because we don't have a washer and dryer.
Right.
We're always hanging our stuff up. Like as soon as we get out, get it in the sun, get it hung up. I mean, that's like
cook it,
yeah.
Cook the sun out of it.
You could do that. At least help yourself out. But best thing you do is just hunt the wind. I don't care how bad you smell. If you hunt the wind, you should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Gotcha. All right, very good. Let's see. Was that Dean's answer or David's answer?
That was Dean's.
Dean's. All right. David, what do you got?
Well, some people say that I was born with war paint on, so if I'm in the woods and I get into the stand and my face is not painted up, I'm freaking out. I just got to have the war paint on. I feel like a Wheaton Warbird with that stuff on, like I could kill anything. Like I'm part of the woods, like I'm a Native American, and I love it. I gotta have it.
Gotta have it. All right, that's a good one. Okay, growing up, or even today, we all have these favorite hunting books that we often turn to for inspiration, or just because they're entertaining. Maybe we share them or gift them out to our friends that we think would appreciate it. What's that one book or magazine subscription that you guys turn to for that kind of thing?
I mean, my favorite magazine is probably like Bow and Arrow, or Deer and Deer Hunting. I mean, there's a lot of good, just quality information articles in there, so that would probably be mine. Book reading, I'm more of like kind of like a motivational guy. I read a lot of business books and like motivational type books and stuff like that. I never really got into like the hunting books. I probably should.
Right.
Right. But
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it's Bow Hunting Life is the magazine. They always got like great articles, like, you know, the top 5 things to do in the preseason, or like, you know, the top 10 things to do. I usually like those articles because there's always like 1 or 2 things that you can really pull out of those that kind of stick with you and you can use. But yeah, Dave and I are kind of same with that. We read a lot of inspirational, kind of motivational books just to kind of fuel us and what we're doing.
Nice. All right, very good. And let's see, moving right along. Let's go with, how old are you guys now?
Dean's 26, David's 28.
Okay.
Whew.
All right. So looking back on the last, say, 10 years, go back to 16 and 18, whatever the 10 years ago is. Knowing what you know today, what would you tell the teenage self?
You know, oh, geez, oh, man.
Yeah, it's a tough question. Well, you read all those other books about success, so you must have a good answer for this.
Okay, so this doesn't have to pertain to hunting.
Correct. It could, but not necessarily.
Honestly, the biggest thing I would have is just honestly stay positive, because the shit you're stressed out about and worried about when you're 16, or at least during that year, you're not going to be the next year. You're not going to be when you're 26, 28. So, and you really can't go where you want to go or get things done, you know, if you don't stay positive and believe in what you're doing. So that would be my biggest thing to tell my 16-year-old studly self. You know what? I mean, similar to that, I would say be a sponge to learning. You know, like as we grow up, at least, you know, for Dean and I, we figure out how much we don't really know. Like, the more we know, I should say, we figure out how much more we don't know. So starting that kind of learning curve and like seeking information, you know, for ourselves, whether it be food plots or whether it be, you know, filming your hunts, and, you know, really just kind of immersing ourselves in what we wanted to do back then more, I would say is probably what I would have told myself then. Like, just go for it, like let it go, and just, you know, go for what you're passionate about, go for what you're dreaming about. Because when we were younger, it was kind of like bopping around, like, should we try this, should we not? We want to be a part of this industry, but we didn't really like fully immerse ourselves until we were, you know, in college or even after college. You know, so it would have been to kind of get involved more at a young age, and really not to be afraid of failure. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing. Don't be afraid to fail, because it's going to happen. It happens now probably more than it did then. And you learn more, you know, from your failures than you do from anything else anyway. So that would be mine. Don't be afraid to fail.
Nice. All right. Very good. All right, David, let's say we're at you're at a hunting convention somewhere in the country, and you're in the hotel and you step into the elevator. A stranger steps in next to you and strikes up a conversation, and they ask, "What do you do for a living?" What do you tell them?
I hunt. No, I tell them, you know, I'm very fortunate. I live the dream. I don't make a lot of money, but I do what I love for a living. I hunt. We have our own production business, video production business as well. We're trying to create different things through technology to connect hunters and fishermen within this industry that really pertain to the younger generation, and getting them more involved, because they are the future of this sport. the future consumers of this industry. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's probably what I would tell them.
Yeah, no, good one.
In a
Dean?
nutshell.
I'm trying to think how to say that differently. It's do the same damn thing.
Well, if it's the
Yeah,
same
no, I mean,
same thing,
on
that's
top of
fine.
that, yeah, no, on top of that, it's just we inspire and entertain people through our videography, through doing what we love, and that's filming hunts. And like I said, we like to show our passion for doing something and influencing people that not even to do the same thing with hunting, but just to be passionate about, or to be passionate about something and follow what they are passionate about. That's our biggest thing is do what you love.
Very nice. Excellent. David, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had 2 eggs over easy and a couple pieces of toasted bread with some cheese in the middle. It was pretty bomb.
Sounds pretty delicious. All right, Dean, what'd you have for breakfast?
Well, we cooked breakfast together, so
you had the same thing. You had the same thing. All right.
People are going to make fun of us for that.
You got to be efficient sometimes.
Exactly.
We're working together. It's like, hey, it's time to cook breakfast.
Did you
got
guys
to be efficient, and you got to eat. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You got to eat. You got to have it as hard as it is.
As long as you do it
Got
together.
to.
As long as you do it together. That's right.
You got to do it together. Yeah.
Now, who did the cooking, or did you share in the task?
No, we actually both cooked our own
of the same breakfast.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Oh wow, you had the same thing to eat. You cooked your own breakfast. That's funny.
There's not enough room on the skillet for 4 pieces of bread and eggs, so I'm just like, Dave, when you're done, just leave it all out, and I'm gonna fry mine up.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm gonna do the same thing because that looks pretty good.
Very nice. Okay, Dean, you get your own billboard. It's blank canvas. You can put anything in the world on it that you want to put on it. What does it say?
Oh man, that is tough. On the fly.
Dude, you'd put your face on it for sure.
I'd probably put. Yeah,
no doubt his face would be on
me in like a suit with some shade, like some nice pair of shades on, and then it would probably just say "TAGNBRAG TV." Do it.
I like it. David, what would you put?
I'm gonna slap our new Stone App logo on there, and it's just gonna say "Mount Everything."
Yeah, nice.
Love it.
With a link. Click it somehow.
Right.
Touch it.
Nice. Big. What do they call those big square dots these days? The QR code.
Oh, the
big QR code.
Yeah, the QR code.
Right.
Exactly.
Giant one.
If you could hold your phone up to that thing, just like driving down the freeway.
Right.
Chink.
Right. That would be excellent.
It's right on there.
David, if I say the word successful to you, who's the first person that pops into your head and why?
Probably my dad, just because he's an entrepreneur himself. We've had a family business, or he's been in a family business for 3 generations and kind of broke off that, completely started his own new thing in the auto body industry, which was what our family business was in. But now he has 6 stores throughout the country. He's got a patent, like 2 different patents within his floor plan, and it's just watching his business grow. And him taking a risk and kind of breaking away from the family business and starting his own thing. I mean, it's just that drives me in itself, and says that, myself and Dean can do it too. Be a part of, he's completely changing the auto body industry, which is crazy. And it's cool to watch. It's very motivating. Awesome. I'm lucky. We're lucky to have a role model like that for sure.
So you both have the same answers?
Well, yeah, I would, but on top of that too, I would say my grandpa too, because he's been ran the family business, his whole life too. He's been an entrepreneur, and I would just say he's successful because he loves what he does so much. He's still working today. He will not stop. He's 78 years old. He will not stop. Like literally, when the sun comes up in the morning, and he's he's coming home at night, and he will not stop. And he forms relationships with people so well, and I think that's just why he's successful, because he's so happy doing what he's doing and working. You can't take success written all over him. Yeah, you can't take it away from him. He's truly doing what he loves. Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
You wouldn't think, and from an outsider's perspective, you wouldn't think that, because he's still working so hard, and, you still kind of see him stressed out in certain situations. But, I mean, he's the ultimate provider for our whole family. It's insane. He doesn't have to be doing it. No, and he doesn't have to be doing what he's doing either. He just wants to be.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. David, let's start with you on this one. What's a typical non-hunting day in the life look like for you? Like from when you get up to when you go to bed?
Wow. Man, non-hunting day. So this is probably like a weekend. Get up, have some coffee, probably a little breakfast, hang out. I got a chocolate lab. I got a black lab, Great Dane mix. So I like to go outside and have a little bit of fun with him. I love being outside, walking in the woods, whatever. Now I'm actually coaching high school baseball for my old high school team. So that's taken up a lot of time this spring. We're just getting into, hardcore practices right now and games and stuff like that. So there'd probably be a little bit of that. I'm a big advocate of working out and trying to stay as healthy as I can. I need to get a workout in for kind of that release. I got a very competitive mindset. So whether it be playing basketball, lifting weights, just, running on the treadmill or biking, whatever, I got to get that release in on a daily basis for sure. A nice dinner maybe with a beautiful female would be very nice. And then maybe go out with some friends at night. Sounds like a good day.
Cool. All right. Dean, what's your day look like?
We'll go with a work day kind of thing. But I'm similar, getting up, got to have the coffee in the morning, jumpstart the day, breakfast too, best meal of the day. But, usually, Dave and I start our day we're doing different stuff literally every day, but we usually spend, literally probably 4 hours editing some sort of video, whether it's for TAGNBRAG TV, a sponsor, something for us personally, or for another production company that we're doing. We do some production work outside of the hunting industry as well. So we usually spend between 3 to 4 hours a day doing that. Usually it's in the morning, first half of the day, and then we always seem to be on the phone or writing about 10 to 20 emails a day. So that usually honestly always takes up a couple hours after a lunch break. And then if we can, we'll go do something for TAGNBRAG TV, film, whatever we're doing that day. If it's just an interview for TAGNBRAG TV, if it's going to check a trail camera or whatever it is, to get some of our footage in. And then usually the mid afternoons to evenings, definitely going to get a workout in myself. Like Dave, gotta release some of the energy. It's not easy, honestly, sitting in front of a computer for 4 hours a day editing. You kind of lose your mind a little bit. But I love playing basketball. I try to do that honestly a couple times a week. I'm lucky enough. I got a group of friends and stuff. My buddy's actually an AD at our local high school, so we usually get a group of guys playing basketball a couple times a week. I love doing that, and then it's usually just getting dinner and relaxing at night to get the day started. Dave and I usually, spend a half an hour at night planning our next day and maybe watching a Cavs game at night. We love doing that if they're on.
Gotcha.
And then going to bed.
Nice. All right, so let's change up the question just a little bit. What's a deer hunting day in the life look like for you? Dave, let's start with you.
Hilarious. I love hunting in the mornings, especially once the rut comes around. So up early, getting the coffee in. When it's deer season in the morning, I am fired up. Like, even if I'm dead beat tired, I am in the house. I'm singing. I'm pissing everybody off, just annoying everyone. Dean's usually still sleeping at this point. I'm definitely still sleeping. So literally, I do a lot of getting, the camera equipment, getting any miscellaneous equipment ready, because we know how each other works. Dean likes to sleep. He'll
suck that sleep dry till the last minute that he can. So even if I'm not the cameraman, more likely than not, I'm getting the camera gear ready, packed up, ready to go, maybe making a sandwich or a snack, getting a couple waters or something ready, because, you know, if we're going in the woods, especially with camera equipment, you know, we oftentimes sit it out for a better part of the morning and stuff. You know, I mean, in the early season, we don't hunt mornings a lot, so it'll just be afternoons, but a rut day, I like to stay in all day. I just how I am. Like I said before, you know, you can't kill them on the couch. You know, so being inside just kind of drives me stir crazy. So a lot of times we'll be sitting from daylight to dark, you know, in the stand. Maybe we move stands, you know, midday or something like that if we're not seeing something. But then we usually get back to the house after the hunt. If we haven't killed anything, you know, we'll cook some dinner. We may have a beer or two, and maybe we'll have a beer or two, maybe a little Jack and Coke. And then honestly, it's usually to bed pretty early. Actually, we're after dinner. We're usually loading footage onto the hard drives, clearing cards, making sure everything's on the charger and stuff for the next day. That is honestly, people don't realize how time consuming that is. That's a couple hours worth of work after the hunt, just loading footage, making sure it's organized. I mean, we are very organized with our footage and stuff on all of our hard drives. Like, Jay, you could come take our hard drive. I could say, go find a hunt from, you know, November 15th, 2015 or whatever, and you could easily, you know, find it. So we make sure we're very organized with that. And then, yeah, it's usually to bed fairly early. I mean, at that point, it's usually 11, 12 o'clock, and we got about 4.5 hours in the rack before we got to get up and do it again. So.
Gotcha. All right, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, or Dave and I, obviously, we're together, so our days are roughly the same. I mean, it's a lot of, when we hunt, you know, 5 to 7 days in a row, it's a lot of work. I mean, the days we're hunting all day, and if we're not getting cameras or footage ready in the morning, we're doing it in the afternoon, and after we have a meal at night, we're crashing out because we're getting up early. But yeah, I mean, the only thing different about my day is, yeah, in the morning, I'm like peeking out the window, like, it's got to be raining or something. The wind can't be right. The wind can't be right. We're going to have to wait this out till like 9 in the morning before we go in.
And I'm like, dude, get your ass off.
Pillow. It's so hard for me to get up in the morning. Once I'm up, I'm like, I'm okay. But for some reason, I just don't want to get out of bed because I feel like I just got in bed like 3 hours prior, which most of the time I actually did. But
that might be a problem. All right, there you go. That's
right.
Awesome. All right, that's great answers, guys. It's quite a series of answers and questions to drill through without knowing the question in advance. So you did a great job. Any other questions for these guys, Dusty?
I think we about covered how they make breakfast and all that stuff, so I think we're good.
Yeah, we definitely covered a lot tonight. It was
Come
really
on,
good.
Dusty, you got to have something.
usually I got like the thick cut bacon and like bagels and everything. We're making big ass breakfast sandwiches, but today was just a simple day. It was kind of like a Monday, but it was a Wednesday. Right.
That's awesome. So where can we find more information about the things you guys are up to as far as like your Facebook links, Twitter, YouTube? What are the website addresses and links we should go look at if we want more information?
Yeah, so the first and foremost, www.TAGNBRAG.tv. TAGNBRAG.tv. We do a weekly episode every Thursday. It comes out, so tomorrow, get on there and check it out. That's where we promote really a lot. I mean, we promote all of our content everywhere, but that's where you can see it first, more or less. Our phone app on the iTunes store called Mount. If you search Tag and Brag with a space in between the tag and the N and the brag, you'll get our phone app on the iTunes store. We'd love for you to get on there, check it out, post your pictures. I mean, we're trying to get as many people on there as we can. So tell your friends, the more people, the better it is. The more interaction that's going to be on there, the better pictures that are going to be on there. And we have a lot of cool things coming with that. We're going to have video involved soon. We're going to have an Android piece. that we're going to be developing soon. So a lot of cool upcoming things with that. On Instagram, search Team TAGNBRAG on Instagram, and that's probably where we interact the most. I think the younger generation now with, it's kind of weaned off of Facebook a little bit, and Instagram is kind of where it's at. I mean, we're posting multiple times a day.
Yeah, and the link for the phone app is right on our homepage on Instagram.
On Instagram as well. And then Facebook, it's just TAGNBRAG. Search TAGNBRAG, and you can find us on Facebook. We air all of our episodes on Facebook as well. They don't air till the weekend, after that Thursday, but we do air each of our episodes on Facebook. I mean, we're getting like 5,000 to 10,000 views per episode, which is kind of crazy and overwhelming for us to even think about right now. Probably not a huge number for a lot of people, but for us, it's steadily rising, and it's pretty cool. It's fun to watch.
And for some behind-the-scenes action and entertainment, Snapchat, TAGNBRAG.
Sure.
That's probably what we've had the most fun with over the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Snapchat.
Search Team TAGNBRAG on Snapchat, and I guarantee you'll get some laughs. You'll be entertained.
All right, now this is the app that teenagers were sharing body parts with each other, right, for 10 seconds. This is the app that you're now engaging in.
Yeah, we don't share body parts, but we share a lot of things on there. We don't hold much back on Snapchat.
But definitely the behind-the-scenes kind of stuff happens on Snapchat.
Yeah.
That's what I get. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see us right in our office. I mean, in the woods, setting up, wherever we are that day, you're going to see us all live. So, pretty cool.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
Guys, it's been fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure kind of getting caught up with all the things you've been up to over the last year and a half. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and you're energetic, and we can feed off of that energy. It must be what you had for breakfast, and Dean, even though you probably slept in, Dean, you can tell you're the nighttime
bacon this morning.
You guys are definitely great. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show, and hopefully we'll have you on again, but not a year and a half later. Maybe a few months later.
No, yeah, I hope so.
Great.
I hope so. Tell Sean and Mike from Heartland Bowhunter we want to do a battle or rap battle or something on the show. Combo platter. TAGNBRAG, Heartland Bowhunter. We're challenging them right now.
A rap session challenge? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm not scared of anything.
Maybe you could throw a beat. Throw a beat out.
I know Dusty could throw the beat out for us.
Yo, 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 yo.
There you go. Yes, good steady beat, Dusty. I like it.
Yeah, we're gonna need something better than that.
Well, guys, hey, thanks again, man. It's been great. Great show. Loved all the detail. Everything was fantastic. So just you had me on the edge of my seat. It was great.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for having us on. We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I dare say, Dusty, that we've watched a progression here in the skill set of a hunter, or hunters in this case.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Jay. Going from a couple years ago when we first talked to Dean and Dave Giarrizzo, they've come a long way as far as, the maturity levels becoming more developed, and you're seeing it in their skill set. And their attitude towards what they want to do with life is, their drive is just that much more stronger now. It's pretty amazing, Jay.
It's awesome. It's nice to see somebody kind of take a dream and keep progressing and not giving in to the challenges. And actually, I hear a different voice in them this year than we did a couple years ago. It's like they've grown up a little bit. And I'm not sure why that is exactly, other than that they've got a couple more years under their belt. Kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It's very fascinating. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was getting ready to say it's fascinating how progression shows itself.
Dusty, do we have a Chubby Tines tip of the week coming our way this week?
Yeah, Chubby Tines tip of the week is...
The Chubby Tines tip of the week is sponsored by Morse's Sporting Goods. Firearms, use firearms, bows, use bows, located at 85 Kentucky Falls Road in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. Give Jim a call at 603-464-3444, morrissportinggoods.com. Your dollars go further in New Hampshire. There's no sales tax. Morris's Sporting Goods.
You know, it's a mental game, Jay. If you let failure get in your mind and you let not seeing deer, not getting a shot off on the deer that you did see, deer not showing up on your camera, the wind's not working right, it all plays a mental role in your hunting game. You got to override that. You got to be able to keep yourself together when the mental stages start taking over. So, you know, let's think about this coming year and what happened in the previous year and how the mental aspect played a role in your hunting strategies, success, failures, and your routine daily going to the woods activity. You know, the mental game is something that you can work on throughout the whole summer to prep for this fall hunting season to come. And it not only is something that you can prep for, but you can change the way your mind is going to be set before you hit the woods this fall. If you struggled with failure or things not working right last year, this year, focus on what mistakes happened and try to correct everything. You're not going to fix all of it, but I think that you can ease that mental pressure throughout the summer with a little thought process and making the right moves and doing the right things to set up your hunting area and get that mental game where it's 110% versus fighting it. You know, you don't want to be fighting your mental challenge. It's a struggle. It'll mess with your mind. Work on your mental game this summer and get yourself focused on what you need to do and what needs to be done to make it a little easier on the mind this fall.
Gotcha, man. That's awesome. I think that might be the best Chubby Tines tip of the week we've ever had. You've been thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, you know, it's just stuff that I'm no pro by far, Jay, but there's just a lot of things that play a role in my success in the whitetail woods. And like I said, by far, no category of being a pro hunter. But man, if I can pass something along that may take somebody else's hunt to the next level, I'm going to tell you.
That's awesome, man. I like it when you go deep in the head. That's good, and that's awesome. Thanks for putting that together. Thanks to Jim Morris over at Morris's Sporting Goods for sponsoring the Chubby Tines tip of the week. Man, this has been a fantastic show. It's always good to hear from Tag and Brag. Those guys are fantastic. I just feel like they're kind of in the right direction, going to higher levels with everything they're trying to accomplish in their business as professional hunters. And I think there's far more stories to come from them down the road. Just awesome stuff. We've got some great shows coming up, by the way. We've next week is going to be Chad Eubanks, and this might be a bit of a controversial show that we're touching on because we're going to be talking about high fence hunting. And Chad is from Louisiana, and he has hunted public land. He's hunted private leased land in Louisiana. He's also hunted high fence grounds. And he is actually basically has now said that he prefers the high fence stuff. And it's not so much that it keeps the deer in or makes it necessarily any easier than it would be on a very highly managed area that's on leased land, private land, for example. He likes it because it keeps the poachers and the other hunters out. And I can kind of see that. There's no competition. We've been working a particular area, we're trying to get the buck that you know is there, and then a poacher comes along and shoots it out, or maybe the neighboring hunter goes out for a day and kills the deer you've been waiting for 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a show you don't want to miss, and it may change your mindset a little bit about high fence hunting.
Absolutely. And then after that,
it's the one and only Michael Pitts is on the show with us.
The one and only Michael Pitts. Now, if you don't know who Michael Pitts is, Michael is the guy that is part of the Realtree gang. Hangs out with Michael Waddell, Nick Munt, and Travis T-Bone Turner. And he's been basically given the assignment to heckle them, in a sense, by interviewing them about all their little idiosyncrasies that Michael thinks is funny. So we've got Michael coming up, and he's been on some other podcasts just recently, but he did a very interesting video at the ATA with these guys, Just absolutely hilarious videos. So we've got Michael Pitts coming up. So that's what's on the headline for the next couple shows. And Dusty, where can we find you when you're not hanging out in the Big Buck podcast studios with me?
I tell you what, you're going to find me more often live on the Big Buck Registry on Facebook. That's for sure.
That's true.
Look me up, facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors. You can shoot me an email right here, dusty@bigbuckregistry.com. And if you want to get a little more into my personal life and you're on Instagram, shoot me over a follow at Chasing Antler. Jay, where can the people reach out to you when you're not on the mic?
Well, you can, and by the way, I did see your live video that you did the other day on Facebook. It was very good. We were talking about the Euro hanger, and you showed everybody your podcast studio, so I thought that was neat. But yes, you're absolutely right. We are going to be doing some more live video feeds for our Facebook account because we can do that now. I guess it's brand new as of like December, and nobody knew about it for a few months. So this is like brand new to compete with Periscope and those things. Now, with our audience, where all of our fans hang out, the 250,000 fans, now we can go live with them wherever we are, wherever we might be hanging out. Near, maybe it's in the woods, maybe it's hunting, maybe it's in the studios, maybe it's at a show where there's 200 beautiful, 150-inch plus bucks hanging on the wall. So it's going to be just an epic addition to our already very strong Facebook page. So I'm looking forward to that. But if you'd like to reach out to me, I'm jay@bigbuckregistry.com. That's my email address. Facebook, very simple, facebook.com/BigBuckRegistry. If you'd like to submit a buck to that page, all you have to do is go to bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck. We're also on Twitter, twitter.com/BigBuckRegistry. We're on Instagram, which is bigbuckregistry.com/Instagram. Please, if you're using an Apple device, please go and do a review for this show. We need the feedback. I don't care if it's a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, whatever it is. I want to hear from you because that's the only way we make this show better. We want to make it better for you, the listener. And if you are on an Apple device, please hit the subscribe button so you can get the automatic notifications from us to say that there's a new show available for download for you to listen to every time they come out. Usually it's Saturday morning. In fact, we've been on that schedule for quite a long time. So you just check Saturday morning, or you can set your phone to notify you. Other than that, if you'd like the show enough where you have a couple extra bucks and you'd like to become a patron of this show, all you have to do is go to bigbuckregistry.com/donate. And you'll see different levels of donations, anywhere from $1 to a $25 level. And at each level, you'll get a new something, like a coffee mug or a coffee mug and a T-shirt, all that kind of thing. So check that out, bigbuckregistry.com/donate. Other than that, man, I think that is a show, and I can't thank you enough for tuning in to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast.
I'm Dusty Phillips.
And I'm Jay Scott. And this is the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Can't wait.